Yo, what's good? This is the first episode of a podcast. The name is soon to be figured out. We're going to figure it out soon. Just stay tuned. I'm right here. You know me, Dominic. I'm right here with
My name is Daniel.
Daniel.
Yes, sirree.
And we're sponsored today, thankfully, by Anguish clothing brand. Make sure you check that out. Soon to be clothing. We're going to find a lot of clothing, a lot of good clothing.
A lot of good shit. We're going to be doing a lot of good shit. It's going to be really good stuff. We're going to talk about a lot of different topics. We're going to touch on a lot of different things that my good man Dominic right here is, lived and experienced, myself included. You're going to get to know a little bit better about us. We're going to basically make this about himself and myself so that you guys can get an idea of who the hell is talking to you, because quite frankly, who the hell are we, right? After today, probably still nobody. However, you'll know us better, so we're going to get into it. We're still working on the structure a little bit, so we're thinking probably, what do you think? Do you think the guests should go on the couch or in the chair? Because originally I was thinking the guests should go on the chair.
Yeah, give them the spotlight basically of being on the podcast.
But like if we have multiple guests, there's a I got to talk to this mic. There is a potential for more guests at once, and then the interviewer could actually be in the chair. That way, you know what I'm saying? So maybe today you're the interviewer. I mean, let's do that. Let's make your chair the interviewing chair, and then I'll be the interviewee.
All right. So Daniel, tell me something. Tell me a little something about yourself. Tell me how old you are. Tell me what do you do? Just what do you like to do for fun? What's some hobbies?
Yeah, well,
anything like that.
I'm 26 years old. Waited 6 hours in the blistering cold for 10 hours, and he still said no. No, I'm actually 37. I am a man child, and I love to do I don't know, man, really cool stuff, honestly. But I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that I want to talk about them unless you ask. So
it's all good. I see you have a raver shirt on.
You can read that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I used to do graph. I used to do a little bit of graph here and there, so I know how to read it. I kind of do it here.
That's cool. You used to do graph. That's cool. I actually still do graffiti.
You still do graffiti?
I sure do. Yeah. Only on canvases though.
Canvases
for the record. Yeah.
Just legal spots only.
Oh yeah.
Legal spots only for sure.
Only permitted spots.
Venice catches at Venice. Doing a spot, you never know. But yeah, I just saw raver. What made you think of that?
All of the raves that I go to on the weekends, I kind of have a problem. It's like my church. I literally don't feel like I'm right with God if I don't go to my raves on the weekend. Yeah. It's
okay. It's like second nature.
It's where I want to be, man. That's the place where I really feel like if the world ended right now, it could happen, and I would be just fine with everything going on in my life.
I'm at a rave. I'm raving it.
Yeah,
I'm a little thizzed out. All right.
I stopped doing drugs a long time. Like I said, I'm 37, so I mean, I definitely went down that road at one point in my life, but I'm not there anymore. Now it's just for the vibe and for the music, and it's my cardio. I don't go running. I like to, dance my little heart away. So
okay, yeah, no, that's cool. That's good. That's good, actually. I remember. A lot of the homies tell me stories about how they go to raves and then they end up getting a little too messed up off whatever they're taking.
You see it all the time.
And it's like, yeah, you see it a lot, and it's like you should learn from it, but you never really learn until you experience it yourself.
I don't know if learning is the I don't know if you really learn from it as much as you just get tired of it, or you realize that life is too short and it's getting shorter every time you do stupid shit. So going to a rave is like a healthy thing for me, actually, as opposed to like a screwed up, killing myself thing. Because that's essentially what you're doing when you're doing drugs, man. It's like,
I mean, hey, if it's what you like to do, why not do it?
No, it's your life. Do whatever you want. That's for sure. But I definitely think that me being at the age that I am with two beautiful little girls who are just little babies, it's I can't imagine what it would be like for them to grow up without a father if I was just, a fucking idiot. And, next thing I know, like, they're like, oh, daddy, where he at, Not like, he down the street, but like that fool underground, kind of thing.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I grew up with my father for my first years of life.
That's right. That's right.
And then,
right. Do you remember him or?
Yeah, I remember my dad. I still talk to him to this day. We're cool now. But
cool.
when I was getting older, he was on a mission. He told me he was going to the planet Mars.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, I wonder how that was. I don't know. I don't really know exactly. He brought back a rock.
That's right.
He brought back a rock.
Dude, yeah. What kind? Was it like a white one?
It was an orange one. Mars. Their
God.
rocks are usually orange. So I was pretty convinced.
Okay.
And then, cool. I got older, and I told him, I was like, hey, I still have this rock. I went to go to a pawn shop, and I tried selling it because I thought you weren't coming back. And they told me it was a regular rock. I was a little disappointed. No, but in all seriousness, though, yeah, I love my pops. No matter what happened, I'll still have love for my pops.
That's what's up, man. I can't really relate to that at all. But I know that because of that, I definitely, want to change that for my kids because, like,
you want them to experience something you didn't.
Potentially, I don't think that it was any sort of like setback or like, I don't really feel like I missed out in a way, but at the same time, I know that I've seen people with structured families that, I don't know, it really a structured family doesn't make a person. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel like it helps a little bit,
It for sure helps.
Seeing a nice healthy relationship really does a lot for an individual when they're, dating or finding the person that they want to be with. It prevents them from finding something toxic or at least in my opinion, it should. Hopefully, it doesn't always, but people are stupid, so people do their own thing.
That is true.
Yeah, it's pretty true.
The world we live in is a crazy place.
Yeah, it's you gotta love the experience of life, though. Not to get all deep, but I really think that on some level, we chose to be here, and then we were manifested into these human bodies, and we did it because we want to have the experience of life. And it's like in another dimension potentially. I'm pretty sure you don't have a physical being. You can't be touched, you can't like have your heart broken, you can't fall in love or like mourn. It's a very dynamic plane of experience, that I don't think that if there's a spiritual realm, which I'm nearly certain there is, you don't get to have that. It's a very, very beautiful thing that we have this life.
Have you ever done yoga or meditate or any of those sorts?
I am actually pretty versed in yoga. I don't do it the traditional way, but being limber and flexibility is one of the key components of good health. Keeps your circulation right, and I was actually just watching a study the other day saying that the ability to hold your balance well in older age increases your life rate like 60% because most like elderlies die from falling down, as it turns out. Like, they just slip and fall one day and, it's like a bad time. And so, stretching and whatnot, yoga is definitely it. But most of my experience comes from doing martial arts. I've been doing martial arts since I was 9 years old. It's probably the only thing that I'm really good at. But time will tell. I've got a few things in the motion.
And you were saying you had a dojo.
So I do have a dojo in the works. I am planning on. So I don't know. We'll see. This may be somewhat of a pipe dream. I know that the dojo thing works. I've got a good model for it, but I'm trying to get a warehouse so that I can teach martial arts and train during the day, and then throw warehouse raves at nighttime, so that it'll be just a really good time.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing somewhere in the harbor area actually. So, are you from the harbor? You're from the harbor.
I'm from the harbor area.
Yeah.
I grew up here.
That's how we roll, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good life over here.
Can you discuss a recent project or accomplishment?
Man, I would say that. You said a project or accomplishment?
Project or
Oh,
accomplishment?
yeah. Oh, that's an easy one. Yeah. So, I've got a lot of stuff in the works right now. I'm working with Anguish And we're
Shout out
rocking
English.
we're rocking some like a cool clothing line, kind of like they fit my niche. I am also working on the dojo project, so my warehouse dojo rave thingy. I have also been thinking very, very serious about getting beat up in the ring. We'll see how it goes.
Some street beefs. I don't know if you heard about street beefs.
I've heard of that. No, not quite. I was
Okay.
thinking more slightly more lucrative or notable venue, but time will tell. But I definitely
Okay.
feel like this is the time if ever, because we're all getting older. I feel like I'm in my prime though. I was joking about being 26 in the beginning, but I mean, I've definitely, I guess, to touch on accomplishments. The one of the accomplishments is I lost like 85 pounds like 2 years ago, and I basically like got like, I would say 15 years of my life back. If I could show you a before and after picture, you'd just be like, I don't recognize that guy at all.
Oh, damn.
And what's funny is that a lot of my family didn't get to see me when I was that way. So when they look at me now, they don't even, they can't even like, it doesn't even process for them, like they didn't see me that way, because I look like I would have looked if I didn't put on a bunch of weight and become a alcoholic and lazy POS. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy, man. It's like if you really put your mind to it, the human body is capable of such crazy things.
Capable of a lot, man. You can do a lot. You'd be
wild.
surprised at what you can do.
It's wild, yeah.
But on a side note, let's see. Oh yeah, how do you? So, you say you rave a lot. How do you keep your professional life and your free life separate? Like when you're out raving, how does your day looking? Or if you're out like on your not raving on a normal day, like what do you go about doing?
So I actually don't separate the two. It used to be something in the past where I would. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is what it is. My passion is martial arts, and that was my hobby, my all I ever wanted to do. But then I started doing it professionally, working for somebody, and it became about something else. But I got to do what I loved all of the time, and it became less of something I enjoyed. Although I still was very passionate, I identified as that. I stopped appreciating it because it was mandatory, basically. And what I did instead is I found other hobbies. I got back into graffiti. I started saying a lot, mostly, but well, anyways, yes, I don't separate them anymore because essentially, I find that the flow of life is just a lot more smooth. I don't have to be two different people or like feel like I am, being fake or wearing a mask at any point in my life. I just kind of present myself as who I am when I go to a rave. So this is kind of silly, but I structure my days around raves. I go to raves once, maybe twice a week, but I will intentionally stay up through the night and wake up around 2:00 in the afternoon just so that when the rave comes around, I can be awake for the whole thing because I don't do any narcotics anymore. So you know what I mean? Like for me, it's like, I'd rather be awake and like alert, in downtown LA or wherever it may be.
Okay.
And while I'm doing that, I'm also, promoting myself. It's like, I think the two go together well. I mean, you'll see me at a rave, I'm dancing. And if somebody
having a good time.
Well, you're having a good time, but also, it's like, hey, I also teach martial arts. And hey, if you'd like a mural done in your house or like, so I just solicit myself and it all just kind of, coagulates or not coagulates, but like coexists together. I don't like separating.
It all kind of just rolls with the flow.
Yeah,
depending on what your day is looking like.
I feel like more of me. You know what I mean? I feel like that I'm being more genuine and true to myself because I know in the past when I was younger, I was probably a little more rambunctious and slightly more on the hooligan side of things.
On the side, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was definitely like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Up, for sure.
But then I met a great man, my mentor. He was a great role model in my life that really had me step outside of my comfort zone more than I would have ever liked. And what I got from that is a different me that I didn't know existed. But then I became that person, and life happens. And there was a couple of unfortunate. However, when you look back on the string of life, you see that if the things didn't happen to you the way that they did, you would never be the person that you are. And I really love the person that I am right now. So
I agree with that.
But that on the side, there were a few things that made me see that what I had become wasn't necessarily me. And what I was reverting to wasn't necessarily me either.
Okay.
Because, I didn't know myself yet. I didn't know myself as an adolescent. And I was starting to learn more about myself growing up. And what I found is that there's multi-layers.
I was about to ask you, at what age did you find out raving was oh, I really love this. I really like to do this.
So, funny, I think my first real exposure to any of the EDM or like rave life was actually through my uncle Victor.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, okay. I was a little kid, and I know that him and
shout out Anguish.
Yeah, shout out to Anguish. Yep. But I know that him and my cousin Carla, one of my earliest memories, was them looking through a photo album of different flyers that they were getting, and they looked so cool. And I was like, "What's this?"
Flyers? I remember the old school flyers.
Yeah, what's this thing? And I remember my cousin Carla had this huge album of all of these different flyers that had M&M's people and Smurfs and I was like, "What are they doing?
What is all this?" Huh?
Yeah, so then I always had a little bit of intrigue, and I think when I was 11 or 12 or something like that, they used to have this magazine called Live Magazine, and they sold it at this liquor store down the street from my grandmother's house. And I bought one day, and I swear I looked at that thing like it was a freaking Playboy, man. I would just look at it all the time, looking at, these people with glow sticks and lights, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I mean, I was 10 or 11 years old or whatever, and I would just cherish that thing like it was the freaking Bible. I wish I still had it. I wish I still made it. But once I was old enough to find a good party, essentially that was the hardest part, is I didn't know how to find the underground scene. So I ended up finding a mainstream scene. My first rave was Monster Massive in 2009, and I went by myself. There were 65,000 people there, and I went looking for my ex-girlfriend, which, and 65,000 people is really hard to find one person.
You're gonna be there for a long time trying to find someone.
It's a story all in its own, but that was when I first got into the scene, and I just fell in love. I was, I think maybe 20 years old, 21 years old or something like that, and it was just an amazing experience, man. And I would see all the people, how they would interact, and the life and the vibe of it all, and
the vibe of it, yeah.
And I remember seeing people and feeling feeling I wanted to be like that. I wanted that vibe. I wanted to feel that, and that was basically my goal after that. Was every single party I went to after that, I just wanted to be more.
Was looking for that vibe.
Well, yeah, we were trying to become that vibe,
Yeah.
And and it's not my words, but I've gotten it a lot lately now that I'm older, that I've gotten back into the scene, because I used to rave really hard when I was younger, and then I moved away, lived in Colorado, was a mountain man, rose a family in the snow, off the grid, this whole thing, and I really felt like that was it for me. But when I ended up moving back to California, I got back into the party scene, but in a different light, and I really bring a different vibe from what I hear. I always get approached by really cool people. They're always, everybody at rave is really, really cool, but
what was the party scene like back then when you were raving, and then from when you came back to California and you started raving again?
I can't really say it's changed a lot, man.
It was the same throughout the whole time.
Well, the thing is that when I got into it, it was a lot more mainstream, and I always felt the old peace, love, unity vibe, what I would see in the magazines and what I imagined the vibe to be like. But yeah. I noticed that when I actually got into it, there was a lot less people like me, and a lot more of what I consider the new ravers, where you're not really going to a rave for the same reasons to let go. Because for me, I got a rave, I've been dancing for since I started raving, basically. So I have some years behind me, shuffling or whatever. But
yeah.
But in the beginning, man, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was having a good time, and I thought that was just the vibe.
Just felt right,
Well, that's the thing, is you go there and you just let loose, because no one's judging you.
But everyone's off doing their own thing,
Really, that was really the vibe I thought it always was. However, and this doesn't matter to me, because people do in fact judge you. I think it's a key component of survival. It's anybody who says that they're not judgy or they don't judge is they're totally full of shit, because they wouldn't be alive if they didn't, because that's how you judge whether or not something's good or bad, or everybody just judges you. Everybody judges somebody, whether or not they accept it, but that's a whole nother tangent. However, I would just bring that old school vibe where it's man, all I hear is the music. All I feel is the bass. I'm going to move. I'm going to feel good. And for that time, and you know, I don't know if everybody feels that way. When I go to parties nowadays, it's like you see a lot of people standing around like they're in a nightclub or at a bar or something. And it's like, what are you even doing here? Like, it's cool, man. Like, I love people. Like, you know, I mean, I actually don't really like people. I love humanity, but I don't like people. But yeah, you know, it's just a different vibe, you know. I try to bring that old school stuff, but
I mean, yeah, that's cool. Me personally, I've never been to a rave. I want to go to one. I'll probably go to one like in the future, you know. Not this Saturday, you know. I'll probably go to one in the future, you know.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, you know. Well, I'm 20, you know. I'm trying 18, to turn at least 21 first.
18 and over, man. Don't even trip.
Trying to turn 21 so I can get some alcohol legally.
Well,
cameras. But yeah, basically a rave always seems cool. I see a lot of the homies go to raves. The homie in New York right now going to school, he goes to raves out there, and he always like sends us videos or like tells us about it when we're all like talking about it, and it always sounds like a cool time. It always sounds good.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, I only know a little bit about you. I know that you're my uncle's wife's brother. I know that we have some things in common, but I haven't really got to get to know you yet, man. Like, what's your day to day look like, man? Like, what
my day to day?
What makes you happy? You know?
Okay, let's see. My day to day, basically, right now I'm working retail.
Okay.
I work a lot of retail. I like fashion, so I'm trying to start a clothing brand.
Beautiful.
I used to tag. I used to you know, do graffiti and all that, but I've been slowing it down recently.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to say I'm getting tired of it, because I definitely never get tired of seeing all the graph or even like doing it, like practicing on paper and all that. But I don't know. I just haven't really found time to actually go out of my way and go and do it, which sounds bullshit. But I mean, yeah, I guess I'm just kind of losing a little bit of interest of it. I'm not gonna front. Yeah. A little bit of interest.
I've been there, man. I've been there. I can totally get that. You know, I graffiti is something that I've been doing for a very long time, and I totally been there before too. Like, I remember being like a grown up and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I ever did that. However, I really wish I was as good as the guys that were the best, you know? And
how old were you when you started?
I started doing graffiti, I was 14.
At 14?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was like, yeah, around the same age, like 12, 13.
Yeah. But you're like what? How much?
I'm 20 right now. I'm 20.
You're 20. Oh, yeah. So you're 17. You're 17 years younger than me, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you were in the game way before me.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Yeah, maybe before you were born. No, almost. But nonetheless. So I went through the thing too, where it's like I lost and I became a grown up.
Lost some interest.
You know, but so funny story. I started working for a company that cleaned graffiti. And I was looking at all the stuff around the block, and I was like, "This shit sucks, dog."
I see. Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking two perspectives. Where one, I would be covering up a lot of you know.
Whack, you did too.
Graffiti. No. Well, like
for me. Sure.
Basically, well, that was one of them where I would see a lot of whack graffiti. But then there's gonna be another one where I'm like, damn, I gotta cover up all this nice graffiti right here, you know.
I didn't really get to cover up a lot of nice graffiti, man. You know, I got to cover up a lot of tags. Like, I was living in San Pedro, and that's like one of the graffiti capitals of the world. It may not be known as that, but that's definitely what it is. And you know, straight up.
Who influenced you to actually start graffiti?
That's gonna be my uncle again, actually.
Okay, shout out English twice. All right.
Yeah, no, you know, that's something that I always wanted to do, though. I always had there was like the ninja aspect. I'm a ninja, man, so I do martial arts.
Martial arts, that's you know, where that comes into play.
Something about getting away with crimes, man. It just makes you feel like you're a fucking ninja, like dog.
You're silent.
You know? Man, you get away with that shit. But yeah, man, it's just pretty good stuff. You know, what got you into graffiti, man?
Shit. Honestly, just where I grew up. You know. I had to do a lot with my brother too, you know. I would sneak into his room, and I'll see some black books right there.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, all right, let me open up this book right here. I want to read. Psych. I seen a whole bunch of tagging, and I was like, damn, all right. I got some crayon markers. And then I would I would flip the other side of the page, and I would trace all the little lettering.
Watch out. That's
and
smart.
that was like elementary status right there, you know. So like I would just go and I'll go ham, and then like my brother would be all
How
pissed.
pissed? I'm like, how pissed was he? How pissed was he?
Yeah,
Like,
my brother
dude.
would be pissed because I
man.
did that shit, and I would try and bullshit, acting like it wasn't me, but
who else would it be? Who else would it be? Yeah,
you already knew there. I wasn't winning that one. But basically,
man.
hey, you know what? Cheers.
Cheers, salute to that. Hell yeah. Fucking, what's up? That's hilarious, man. I love that for you. I feel bad for your brother, though.
You smoke, no?
I do, man.
Look, I got this West Coast Cure pen. It's a indica. If you wanna hit it.
Yeah, I'll fucks with that, man.
For sure. I don't know. Do you smoke usually tree or do you smoke like what do you really like to smoke on?
Well, I really used to like to smoke on everything, but nowadays I just stick to a little bit of nicotine and a little bit of marijuana.
A little bit of marijuana.
A little bit of that. That's called
damn.
That's a sour Xmas.
Sour Xmas.
Pretty good one, yeah, man.
All
I don't know.
The Flume Pebble. You like smoking the Flume Pebbles?
Or
is there a certain like brand you like choosing with the vapes?
Here's a fun fact about me is I don't pay for nicotine stuff, so I just found that one on the street last night. I was walking home really late, and I saw it, but don't worry, because I won't just put it to my mouth. I take it home and I like take it apart and put alcohol on it and I clean it. But that's like a brand new one. Up. Yeah, somebody dropped that, dude. Like it's like I can refill them.
Is that why there's a little scuff right here?
That's a little scuff because someone dropped it and I probably skidded on the concrete.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was walking home at like
it's super scuffed up.
11:30 last night, and I was like, hey, there's another one. I live in the LBC, so. LBC is a very plentiful
it's
place.
big. It's Long Beach is big. I low-key never noticed how big it was till I actually like was walking around there.
Long Beach is fucking huge, dude. Yeah, it is fucking huge. Let's push a button. Let me see.
Yeah, it's a push. Try it out. Let me know what you think.
You're clogged up.
Oh yeah,
you're super clogged up.
Yeah, you gotta.
I'm not very good at sucking. Here you go. Maybe we'll want to take care of that.
Nah, man. Yeah. Well, shit. If you want to hit later on, let me know. It's
for sure. Fuck yeah, man. So tell me more about your graffiti history, because graffiti is something that I'm really interested in. It's something again I've gotten back into, but since I've been back into it, I get to look at it from a different perspective, and I can really appreciate the artists. I met some very interesting people through graffiti, and I would love to know more about you, man. I'd love to know more about what it is for you. Why do you do it? What about it, man?
What about it made me want to do it? And
okay,
all right,
dude.
yeah, man. Shit, I used to. I'm not gonna say used to, but yeah, I write Pose, Pose.
He used to write Pose. I think.
I used to write a Pose.
I think someone else is writing it now. So anything you see nowadays is probably not him for sure.
For sure.
Definitely not him.
Definitely not. But anyways, yeah, I write Pose. Used to write Pose, and what got me into it really, I said it was my brother, but I used to do it just because it made me feel relaxed, man. It kind of escaped me from the little struggles that I was in at the time, and I would just go out and just paint, just going out and paint at different spots. I'll go walk around all LA. I'll go to there's some famous tracks here. There's some train tracks here and where I stay at that a lot of hitters go. A lot of hitters pass by. You'll see a lot of cool graph, or you'll see a lot of
cars fucking blasted, huh?
Yeah, or there be a lot of known heads that you'll see a lot too. Always in the yard. It was always a good time. You always run into somebody, and it's always cool. There's no, at the time, nobody was pressing. Everyone was all paint, and it was cool like that. And then like shit, things happen, and it makes it whack for everyone else. Burns out the yard.
What makes it whack for everybody else?
It just burning out the yard, man.
What do you mean by burning out the yard?
Shit. As in like bringing beef, unnecessary beef, which is always a thing. But when it's a peaceful yard and everyone knows it's a peaceful yard, it kind of makes it a problem. And and also cops too. At the time, there was a lot of cops going through that spot, and usually it was whenever they would go by, they would just tell you, just dip out, and that's it. But they were actually out here trying to catch your ass.
That's the funny part. That's the funny part is that like you're absolutely right about that. But nowadays, like they totally defunded the hell out of police in California, and I'm pretty sure graffiti's like legal. It may as well be because
is it?
Well, they got bigger fish to fry, man. There's only
for sure.
There's only like a quarter of those foods now, and like they got domestic violence to go to, and they've got, the
All
gang
these
violence
real
and
bigger
the
problems.
bigger problems,
Yeah,
dude. Like, you know what I
man.
mean? Like car accidents.
They can't really like be focused on this little stuff,
Dude, they're not tripping on like open containers in public. They're not tripping on like really simple shit because, man, like that's, I assume it's because of the manpower, where the manpower goes, but nonetheless, so I was gonna ask you though, what kind of tag? But what kind of graffiti were you doing? Were you like mostly like a tagger, like a throw up guy, like a fucking piecer? Like,
Okay.
how would you get down, man?
Yeah, I mean, I got down on when I was in cruise, I didn't really get down on like throw ups. We did mainly rollies, just a bunch of rollers,
Oh, a bunch of rollers, okay, okay.
rollers. That's all we mainly did for that.
That's cool.
And then when I was painting solo, I did a lot of throw ups. I love throwies. I love throwies. There's something about the old school throwies that I love, and I always try to like making my own type of style of it, like new school, but I always try to keeping it old school too, because there's something about the old school, man. It's just, you can never go wrong with an old school throwy.
You can only really innovate so much, man. There becomes a level where like what works.
You start to push it.
Then you get things
definitely.
like anti-style, and anti-style is fucking whack, dude. Like, I mean, it gets cool.
I've never even heard of anti-style.
Anti-style is like those guys that fucking do graffiti because they think it's graffiti because they're spray painting on a wall, but like there's no letter structure, or there's like it's like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, oh, that's my name. It's like, ooh, that looks like shit, but whatever. Like, that's anti-style. Like, I'd show you a picture, but nonetheless, like it's just one of those things.
I don't think I've ever seen an anti-style.
Anti-style is what I look like when I first started doing graffiti. It's like,
I mean, yeah, everyone starts out,
that's called anti-style.
Best,
You develop a style, you learn fucking letter form, you understand how to hit the fucking it's a whole process, you know what I mean? Like, but anti-style
it took me a couple of years.
It does take a while. It takes dedication, man.
Yeah, I went through a couple names before I found out a name that I really like solidified. That I like the letters. Letters was a big thing. I was letters better at some letters than others. I wouldn't always practice them.
Sure.
But whenever I would like get down on the homie's name, that's a good way to practice on letters, So
that's interesting. Yeah, so this is interesting. I used to think I was jockeying styles before. Back in the day.
Okay.
Well, that's so like, not like I was jockeying food styles that were like writing, but like, I would look at graffiti online, like art crimes or whatever, and I would like, oh man, this food there is sick. Like, let me try to make it look like that,
Okay.
And there is some shade on that in the graffiti scene, but.
Okay.
I started talking to an OG. He was from like MSK and like STP.
Okay, MSK. Dang.
Well, and he was telling me, he's like, man, he's like, you can't jock a letter, dog. He's like, there's only so many letters to have. He's like, you're just using that style, and like, if you can bust that style hard, then you're a good artist.
Oh, that's some real shit right there.
It is real shit.
That's some real shit.
Because it's like, if you can actually copy someone's style, like where it looks good, that's good.
But I say this: if you're copying someone's style exact to the point, then you're straight up jocking it.
But how can you jock it if you write in a different name though? Because it's different letters.
Only the style. But if you do a style similar and it's like not all exactly the same, if you know what I mean, then it's not like necessarily jocking. You're just doing the style, because there's a bunch of styles and shit. Let's say someone does an old English, and then someone does another old English that looks somewhat similar, but it's they add their own little parts to it, and it looks somewhat different. It's still Old English. They both did Old English, but
Well, so and that's a perfect example, because Old English is.
There's many ways to do Old English,
But it's also, when someone thinks Old English, they think Old English, and it's not like, it's like, I think Old English, I think, okay, it's gonna look like this. It doesn't care. I don't care what the style is. You're still jocking Old English.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, are you really jocking, or are you just doing?
Who made Old English?
Some Old English motherfucker.
Somebody from the Englishmen. Something like that.
Maybe something. Yeah,
he was probably old too.
Probably a monk or something. Probably writing the Bible. Honestly,
it might have been Jesus. Who knows? These style maids were these styles were made a long time ago. We all don't have no claim to claim a style.
I actually know somebody who can't claim a style. I don't remember what he called the style, but have you ever heard of Jabber?
Yeah.
That food actually invented a style.
With the little ninja. Oh, with the little guy.
White ninja.
Yeah, little white ninja.
That's Jabber. Yeah. He's
Jabber. Yeah, I see. Oh, man, whenever I see him in the yard, he always does some cool little something.
You've seen him in the yard? Oh, you mean you've seen his pieces in the
Yeah,
yard?
the pieces in the yard. My bad. Man.
Yeah, I met him one time.
Jabber, I was about to say, I wish I met Jabber. He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
On Instagram, he went live and he was in the yard.
That was gangster, man. Yeah, I met him one time. I actually met him. Shout out to Badfish over in San Pedro.
Okay.
But I met him there. He was doing the mural in that place, and I started talking to him. And right away, my homie came up. Well, he wasn't my homie, but the guy that worked there, because I'd buy paint there or whatever. He came up. He's like, "Hey, don't talk to him." And I was like, "Well, why, dude?" But then I found out later, like, "Oh, that's Jabber." Like, Jabber's like infamous. He's infamous Jabber, man. Like, gotta respect Mr. Jabber. But nonetheless, I was actually talking to him, and he had this very unique style. And again, I don't remember what it was called, but from what I understand, it was like the most recent style invented. Like there's only so many styles. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly don't know a lot of the names of styles.
Well, I don't know the names of them, but when you see them,
you know. You're
like, oh, that's a straight letter. Oh, that's a
okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
block letter.
Well,
okay,
no. Yeah, so those are styles, exactly. Or then there's the wild styles where
wild
that's
style.
A big.
Start making some wild.
But he would do this one where he would like fade in the negative space. And it was it's like if you go into Badfish over in Pedro, you'll see his shit on the wall. It's like when you walk straight in and you look to the right side on the top where they used to sell.
I've never been a Badfish. I
cool.
always wanted some Badfish clothing because I've always seen it. My homie Martin, he was always rocking it from middle school, and come to find out, his I think he said it was his cousin or one of his relatives that actually like owns Badfish or has something to do with Badfish.
That's what's up. Yeah.
And I was like, damn, bro, like you gotta hook it up with some clothing, man. That Badfish. And he was like, yeah, man. Whenever I go over there, I always get everything discounted.
That's what's up.
So
dude.
I'm like,
yeah, they get down, man.
Next time you go out there, bro, I'm gonna have to buy a hoodie or something. Windbreaker. They have some pretty cool clothes. I've been seeing for a while.
Back in the day, the dude that owns Badfish, I don't remember his name. I wish I could shoot him out, but he was opening a paint store in San Pedro. It was called Bad Habits. And he was gonna hire me for the job to run it. He was like, "Yeah, you sell paint most of the day, but you'll be screening shirts like when you're in your off time." But I guess the other investor in that company like decided he was gonna run the store, so I got kind of booted out. But I went on like 3 interviews with the dude. Like he showed me the shop. Like I was totally gonna run it, dude. Like it was gonna be sick, man. But Badfish is dope, dude.
A paint shop,
store. Yeah,
bro,
it was on 17th and Gaffey. It was called Bad Habits. It closed down, but man, it was sick.
Like
dude.
Imagine all the hitters that you're gonna run into just working at a paint shop.
Man,
like
the hitters, man. Imagine how much paint you get, dog. Like, I mean, how much
that too. Dude, all
like,
this free paint, markers, streakers, tips.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I ain't on nobody's jock when I paint, dog. Like I'm not the best one, man. Like by far, but like I do that shit for me. So when I go paint, I don't give a fuck who's there. I don't give a fuck like where you're from, what you did, who you are. I'm not disrespectful. Like I'm not capping no cope shit. You know what I'm saying? But but I'm also like I'm doing it for me. Like I'm gonna cap the wackest thing in the yard, and if my shit stands, I'm like that shit's tight. But like it's just I don't give a fuck, dude. Like I probably spent $1,000 in paint these past 2 years, fucking like, and that's not that much. But for a hobby, like. I don't know, man.
I'm a
broke motherfucker, man. I spend most of my money on paint, dude.
Right now, the homies are a lot of the homies are doing some mini bike stuff. What
do you mean mini bike stuff?
Mini bike. So basically, I don't know if you ever seen like some little guys on little
all the time,
motor gas bike.
Yeah.
It's a little mini bike thing that a lot of the homies are doing right now. It's a big thing right now in the community where I'm
they're
growing
painting
up
the
in.
bikes.
So basically, what they do is they have everyone already has their own little shop now. So there's people who build bikes, and you can just have a built bike, and you just have to pay like a band or like 1,200, 1,400.
Are they painting on the bikes, or are they just building the bikes?
So they just build the bikes and you buy them. And then there's people, my homies, that when they started off right in the beginning of when all this happened, they were building their own bikes, buying parts per part, waiting for the parts to come in and building it from the ground up.
So what you're saying is that they stopped doing graffiti, they started building motorcycles?
No, well, this was like a side note from the graffiti. Yeah, the homies that were doing this, they weren't really like graph heads, and they found their own little thing, and that was mini bike stuff. And what you said was you had spent like 1,000 on a side hobby.
Yeah.
These guys, bro, their side hobby, is expensive, man. And,
man.
And I always tell them like that they spend like let's just say like 200, 300 a day and to get it started. And then they go and ride it, and then something happens.
They break it, they crash it.
They might crash it, or they might need to buy a part, something like that. And they need put more money into it, and the same amount of money they wasted that day, they're gonna have to spend on again tomorrow. And I was like, damn, I used to always tell the homies like, hey, my boy, like you can get a whip with all that fucking money you're putting in a month on that fucking mini bike. That shit's gonna get you killed. You feel me? Like,
fun, though, man. Fucking,
it's not. That's why like not like one of the homies who was super into it. He just recently just quit like doing that shit. Just I don't know how long he's gonna quit, but he's done for the month. I could say. And he bought
making mini bikes.
Making mini bikes, building mini bikes. Building mini bikes for people. It was a little side thing that he was good at. He's good with his hands. So he got himself a little e-bike, a little Razor e-bike.
Those things are fucking dangerous, dog.
It's the right amount of dangerous, but you know what? It's better than the mini bike, I should say. Yeah. It's less money you have to spend.
Well, you don't have to buy gas, that's for sure.
Exactly, you don't have to buy gas. You don't have to. You might have to buy parts for it, but like you're probably not gonna have to buy as much parts as you would like with a mini bike.
I'm really surprised.
But then again, I don't really know how mini bikes work like that either.
Well, so I'm not super versed in like that realm of like mechanics, and like I've actually had terrible experiences with motorcycles. I've actually only had like 1 or 2 successful experiences with them, but nonetheless, I like with that in mind.
I had a mini bike, not a mini bike, a moped crash when I was in elementary.
Dude, I've wrecked so many
motorcycles. That's the only time I ever like crashed on something like that. Mini bikes, I rode them a couple of times. It's been good, but I've never crashed on anything like that.
The only time I've never turned over a bike was when I was with my uncle, and he fucking let me ride his motorcycle, and he said, "Don't fucking crash it," and I was like. That's the only one I've never crashed. But fucking, I rode around the block and I came back and fucking, I never crashed. I didn't crash that one, but every other one I've fucking turned over on its side for sure. Like, for sure. I've run into fences, man. Oh, dude. So then that's why I think I'm like, well, people that ride these electric bikes, it's just a matter of time, man. Like, you're going like 30 miles an hour, you're going to die. I'm surprised more people haven't died, or I'm surprised that more people haven't been in the news. Like, they must be like trying to push that shit or something, because they're like totally. For sure, people have died on that shit. Like,
oh yeah,
they had to.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna speak on that, but yeah, there's people who died on like quads. There's people who died on. There's for sure quads many
quads are the most dangerous one.
Yeah, there's many cases on that, and man, I forgot what I was gonna say. So you keep going.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
I actually I want to get back on the.
Before that. All right, hit the pen now.
Popped?
Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Can't pop that shit. I can't pop it, like I
it's all good, man. Yeah, and I was trying to get a little hit, and I totally forgot what I was going to say because I was trying to pop it. Hey, but this is what happens, man. This is that podcast, right?
Yep, that'll do it.
Oh, yeah. That's that shop shit, man. It's pretty good. In the couch.
I'll see you guys later.
In the couch.
Yeah, next
might
time.
fucking knock out on this podcast. Who knows,
and
man?
Break.
Some good shit though.
That'll do.
It's some gelato. How'd it taste?
It tastes like my face is burning.
Oh yeah, it tastes a little hot. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was a good hit. It's gonna get. You gonna feel that one.
That's what
you gonna feel that one for sure.
Back on the graffiti of topic.
The graffiti of topic. I love it.
Yeah. Back on that.
That's how the pen is hitting good. Yeah,
that's exactly it too.
Yep.
I was wondering more about your painting history. Like, so I know you say you stopped. Like, you're kind of stopping and shit. But
yeah.
But where do you get your paint at, man? Like, how, what kind of paint would you use? Like,
Man, I grew up off those Krylons. Where is it at? Oh yeah, I can't show it, but Krylon right here. Man, I wish I got this the more expensive stuff, but I grew up off Krylon and Rustos, bro.
Homie G dog. Hey, nowadays premium paint is cheaper than Krylons and Rustos. Rustos and Krylons are like $7 or $8 in the store. I get my paint for $5 a can.
Oh damn!
Oh yeah, dude. And it's way more expensive than back in the day, because back in the day everybody's racking that shit,
Nah, for sure. That's why they had it so expensive. That's
it potentially is, but
that's why people were racking it, because it was so expensive.
But I don't know if that's necessarily just why, but I think more is like the volume of what they were painting.
True. If you're gonna, you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a white paint that you're gonna, just straight.
Dude, when I was going hard, man, I was going hard for a while, and I was probably blowing through like 100 cans a week, dude. Like just doing mad fill-ins, dude. Like fucking going like rooftops and fucking like train yard. I mean, I'm not infamous. I'm not famous, man. But I'll tell you this right now.
You call your spots.
You go through paint quick. Like,
yeah, for sure.
When you're in the mix, you got a fat cap on that bad boy, and you're just
man, fat cap, you'll run out of your cans in a
I mean, like
minutes,
one
bro.
piece is one can. Like one filling, like it takes one can to do one filling. You know, like a proper size. You know, basically, you might have some scrap. You know, but yeah, no, like. Ideally, you know, you finish your can and then you just bounce afterwards. So, like, you finish it, toss it, and you're wearing gloves or whatever. And don't commit crimes, kids. All right, you know, unless you're willing to deal with the consequences or be really good or whatever. But yeah, man, fucking.
I mean, I used to when I would go and paint when I was younger. You know, there was a lot of loose paint buckets in the backyard. I remember this clearly. It was a late night. I was in, I want to say middle school, probably on the last year of middle school. Yeah, well, 8th grade. And there was a bunch of paint buckets. There's probably like 4 or 5 paint buckets I found. And I hit up all the homies. I was like, hey, I found a bunch of paint buckets. Fool, let's go on a mission. And we went to this known spot right here by it was by Banning Park.
Wilmington.
Wilmington. It was a known spot. It's not known no more because it's all burnt out now. But basically we went. It was called the Ditch, and we went and man, we caught a bunch of rollers. We found as many loose spots that we found. You know, we weren't trying to go over nobody.
Of course.
But, you know, we try to always keep it respectful. But, you know.
I wish it was still like that nowadays, man. You know, you heard about that skyscraper in downtown L.A.?
Oh, that skyscraper in downtown L.A. Yes, that's a good topic to talk about, man. That's going off right now. Everyone's trying to hit that shit. It's so burnt that they have security on there constantly just waiting to catch someone slipping.
That's LAPD they have on there constantly. Yep. Yeah, that's not just security, man.
Cops and shit, basically. Yeah, trying to get your ass right there.
Here's the thing, though, man. Like, because we were talking about going over people, and it's like, you know, that's one of the biggest shames, I think, in graffiti, because that is such an amazing spot. Well, and, you know, like, there's crews going there, and they're just, like, going over everybody's shit because they don't give a fuck. You know, it's like, man, that's fucked up, dude. Like,
I mean,
you weren't the first one there, man. Go fuck yourself. Go to the higher level. Like, do something else. Why do you gotta fucking, like, why do you gotta be like, because we're fucking, there's a lot of us and we're gonna go with a lot of paint on everything at once.
I mean, that's a big
yourself,
part.
Dude. Hey, but motherfuckers go there on their own. They climb out on that building. They were the first motherfuckers there. That's fucking respect, dog. Like, when you see someone shit like that,
there.
Straight up, dude. I would never go over someone's spot if, like, it wasn't, like, if that shit wasn't already buff, like, if it wasn't a buff spot, like, someone else's spot for sure, but it was buff, so I'm gonna get that spot now. But if I see someone else's shit,
hey, I grew up on this, though. Like, if you're gonna go over somebody in the yard, it's it either has to be a tag.
It has to be better, dude.
It has to be better, but if it's a tag, throwy. If it's a throwy, piece. And if it's a piece, well then shit. Fuck, you know, that's you're just gonna do what you want at that point.
Here's the thing, dog. Fucking OG motherfuckers, like badass legends, gods or whatever in graffiti.
Yeah.
You'll see their fucking shit and, like, you know, they get down, but you'll never see them tag on someone's shit that has, like, an ugly piece. They'll maybe take by it.
Yeah,
they'll have a sick ass flare.
They have their
name. Because why? No.
That's what I'm thinking. They have their name. They're trying to, like, keep it.
If I saw some toy,
good,
bust a fucking fill-in at a fucking yard, right?
Yeah.
Not a fucking spot, not a fame spot. But if I saw
just a little yard,
they got a yard where you practicing, right?
Basically, yeah.
And I was a fucking OG, I would not tag on their shit. If there was a blank spot next to it, I might bust a badass fucking flare.
For sure.
You know, but I would never disrespect. But you guys motherfuckers going and it's like
and doing that.
But you climbed up on the skyscraper first. You climbed on that ledge. You fucking took the risk before anybody else.
Yeah.
You caught the floor spot. You caught the 10th floor spot. Whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
You did your full fucking piece coloring, and some piece of fucking shit from whatever fucking lame ass crew you're from, because fuck you. Come and fucking paint on all my shit because fucking you think you're better than me. Well, fuck, man. You know,
I mean, at that point, you just got to go harder and just go over and go and catch your spot back. I mean,
no,
you know,
that's. I mean, yeah, sure. If you want,
like,
if you want,
yeah,
but like,
you know. But then you know, then
you're taking extra risk.
That's taking extra risk.
Oh no,
all this
that's
shit.
extra risk, dog. Like, straight up.
Yeah, and you got to go back to the spot. You know, to go do it. You got to get more paint. You know, it's a whole process to that shit. But I mean, hey,
dude, if TKO rolled up to the fucking if TKO were to look to the fucking thing right now and said, we're going to paint every fucking floor, fuck the police would just be like, fuck, I guess they're going to paint every floor because there'd be so many of those motherfuckers. Yeah. And, that's fine, whatever. I guess that's cool. Like, if you want to rock the whole fucking building, that's gangster as fuck. Yeah. But, like, if you're going to just, go over someone's shit with, like, black and white or whatever the fuck because you want to say fucking, like, this acronym, it's like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like, yo, man, like, fucking, you didn't do nothing but get drunk and go paint with your homies. You know what I mean? Go and fucking be a real man. Like, fucking, I was talking to my homie. Fucking shout out to fucking Doom from fucking from TKO. Fucking he was like, man, if I would have saw that shit when I rolled up, I'd be like, man, that shit was already hit, and I would just go hit something else. And that's some OG shit, dog. Because it's like, what the fuck, what? I'm gonna fucking like cover someone else's fame. If you're taking a picture, dog, like fame's on Instagram now. Straight up.
Yeah, I mean, well, that whole building, bro. All those buildings, man. Everyone got capped, bro. Everyone got ridden over somebody, and I did see a lot of I'm a disrespected. I seen a lot of toy shit covering like other shit that looked better, and I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you want to catch your spot that bad that you want to go over this cool shit when you could have went over someone else that was like, a little worse. Just say that, like. So, hey, shout out. Or shit, don't even hit the spot, bro. Like, just go somewhere else. There's other spots.
Shout out to Made Fresh, but the homie fucking runs Made Fresh over at the Delamo Indoor. Fucking don't be buying my fucking paint, assholes. You guys already are, but fucking that homie bought fucking. He bought 300 6-packs of black, all right? He bought 300 cases of black. And he said he sold out of them in a week and a half when that shit started going down. So we had no black in the shop. He had to gain white. But that's a lot of motherfucking paint. You gonna tell me that all those motherfuckers that bought that paint were fucking gangster-ass writers? Nah, most of them motherfuckers were toys. Yeah, so you're gonna get a bunch of... Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. You're getting a fucking toy who doesn't give a fuck about graffiti. They don't give a fuck about the respect. They don't give a fuck about going and doing that shit. They just want to go fucking get their name up because they think that's fucking fame. Homie, in the graffiti scene, you don't get the fame. You maybe get the fame with that stupid tag.
I mean, you get noticed, bro, but it's like that's not the recognition you want.
You were not in the scene, man.
I'll go and hit a different spot that's equally as fucking active. Nah, I'm not gonna say as active because that LA building right there is super active right now. So there's other spots that are not gonna have as much attention just because of how much LA is. But my name is out there, and fools are gonna see it eventually. And that's the kind of recognition that I want. Like somebody who's, that's what I was going for. Somebody who's catching their spots, known, seen, and has a wicked style. And, like, bro, like, I ain't trying to follow in nobody's footsteps. I ain't trying to, like, be in no center of attention. I'm just trying to catch my spot because this is what I like to do. Shit, like, I ain't gonna fucking...
This is my deal. This is my deal, just like with everything in my life. I ain't gonna throw out what I write because I be writing very actively, but I will say that wherever I be going around, you'll see my fucking name because I like seeing my shit up. So like when I be passing my shit, I'll be like, I'll be going here, you'll see my shit there because that's where I go. I don't give a fuck if other people see it. I like seeing my shit. I like fucking going throwing that shit up and it's staying for fucking years, man. Like when you're like, caught that spot fucking 2 years ago.
Landmarks.
No, you know what I mean?
Look for landmarks.
So I try to do it real classy, man. I'd be like, man, where would graffiti fit? Like where is it really hard to buff? Like where's this spot that like fucking that's just gonna be there? Like I've been there, man. I've fucking done like stupid rooftops where it gets buffed like the next day or blah blah blah, man. But that's exactly it. You're just wasting your fucking paint, man. Like I pay for my fucking paint, dude. Hey,
yeah,
I pay for my fucking paint
the next day. Like
fuck that shit, dog. I made a newspaper one time though. That's good. That was cool. That was back in the day. That was a different name and shit too. Fucking back in Lomita, California. My buddy told me, he was like, "Hey man, you made it in the newspaper." I was like, "That's fucking cool."
Oh shit!
Hey, but I look back and I'm like, man, that shit was so fucking whack. But I was only.
I mean, hey, you can.
Yeah,
I was only just something you can say.
I wrote on everything. I wrote on every fucking thing, dude. I was like, fucking like anywhere I can get through, anywhere I can go. That's crazy. Fucking kill like toucans. Like fuck that shit. Fucking they're like, yeah, some asshole. And I'm like, never got caught because fuck them. Anyways, man, I did.
Hey, did they get a good picture of the name at least?
Oh, it was a terrible picture of the name because it was so whack, dude. Hey, man, I was like,
man,
I was like fucking 18 or some shit. And fucking, I was like, yeah, I got some dollar green cans.
Hey, but imagine though, at 18, once you find out that your name was in the newspaper,
it was cool. I should have saved it. No, I would have had that. I didn't realize. Saved up. Yeah, I didn't realize how important that was.